Superhero games have been around for decades, and while some have been total flops, not looking at you, Superman 64, others have soared higher than a Kryptonian on a sunny day. But when they hit just right, oh man, it's pure magic. Whether it's Batman throwing hands in Arkham, Spider-Man swinging through New York, or Wolverine going full berserker mode, superhero games can make us feel like we're actually inside the pages of a comic book. So today, we're taking a deep dive into the 20 best superhero video games that brought our favourite characters to life in the most epic way possible. Get ready for some web slinging, back guiding and Hulk smashing action, because these games are the real deal, so let's jump in. Let's kick things off with one of the greatest superhero games ever made, Batman Arkham Asylum. This game revolutionised the superhero genre with its incredible free-flowing combat system, immersive storytelling and atmospheric setting. Arkham Asylum successfully captured the essence of being Batman, from stealth-based takedowns to detective work, making players feel like the Caped Crusader. The game's linear structure worked to its advantage, delivering a tight, focused, narrative-driven, filled with some of Batman's most iconic villains, including Joker, Scarecrow and Bane. The game's voice acting, with Kevin Conroy as Batman and Mark Hamill as the Joker, adds to the immersion, bringing the animated series magic into a darker, more mature world. And the Asylum itself is a brilliantly designed environment, full of secrets, challenges and hidden details that reward exploration. If you haven't played Arkham Asylum, you're missing out on a game that set the standard for superhero storytelling in gaming. Before Insomniac's Spider-Man took over, Shattered Dimensions was one of the best web-slinging ventures out there. The game introduced multiple Spider-Men from different universes, Amazing, Noir, 2099 and Ultimate, all with unique gameplay styles and art designs. Each dimension provided a fresh take on Spider-Man, with Noir focusing on stealth, 2099 offering futuristic high-speed action, and Ultimate delivering chaotic combat. The level variety in Shattered Dimensions kept the gameplay exciting, and the boss fights were some of the most creative in Spider-Man game. Iconic villains like Mysterio, Kraven and Deadpool added a unique spin to the adventure, with a solid storyline and fantastic voice acting. Featuring past Spider-Man actors, this game remains a hidden gem that every Spidey fan should experience. This might be one of the most surprising entries on the list, but X-Men Origins Wolverine is a hidden gem. The movie may have been a disaster, but the game, absolute carnage. This is one of the most brutal superhero games ever made, letting you fully unleash Wolverine's rage with combat, gruesome finishers and a healing factor that actually works in real time. The game's M-rated combat system was a dream come true for Wolverine fans, featuring brutal claw-based combos and dismemberments that perfectly match Logan's feral nature. Not only did the game excel in combat, but it also expanded on Wolverine's story, adding depth and character development missing from the film. The gameplay was a mix of hack and slash combat and light puzzle solving, reminiscent of Gods of War, but with a unique Wolverine twist. If you ever wanted to experience what it truly feels like to be Logan, this is the game to play. When Square Enix announced the Guardians of the Galaxy game, many were skeptical after the mixed reception of Marvel's Avengers, but this game turned out to be one of the best story-driven superhero games ever. Unlike Avengers, this is purely single-player experience, focusing entirely on narrative and character development. Players take control of Star-Lord, making choices that impact the dynamics of the team, resulting in dialogue that's as hilarious as it is emotional. Combat in Guardians of the Galaxy is fast-paced and strategic, allowing players to command team members and combine their unique abilities. The soundtrack, featuring classic 80s hits, adds a layer of fun that keeps the energy high throughout. While it may not have the expansion combat of Arkham or Spider-Man games, its heart and storytelling make it one of the most engaging superhero games in recent memory. What if Spider-Man went rogue? Injustice 2 continues the thrilling alternate universe storyline where heroes are divided in an all-out war. NetherRealm Studios, the creators of Mortal Kombat, brought their expertise in fighting games to craft one of the most balanced and exciting superhero fighting games ever made. The combat is fast, fluid and packed with unique super moves, allowing players to use characters like Batman, Wonder Woman and the Flash in epic one-on-one battles. The game also features a deep gear system, letting players customize their favourite heroes with different abilities, stats and visual upgrades. This added a unique RPG element to the game, making every match feel fresh, and the story mode is one of the best in fighting game history, filled with emotional moments, betrayals and jaw-dropping cutscenes. Whether you're a competitive player or a casual fan, Injustice 2 is a must-play. If you've ever wanted to truly feel like the Hulk, this game delivers. Ultimate Destruction is an open world action game where players take control of the Hulk and literally smash everything in sight. Whether it's ripping cars in half to use as boxing gloves or leaping across entire city blocks, the game fully embraces the chaos and power of the Hulk. The destructibility of the environment was ahead of its time, allowing players to tear apart buildings, hurl massive objects and cause chaos as only the Hulk can. And this game also has a solid story, showing the struggles of Bruce Banner trying to control his monstrous alter ego. Even years later, few superhero games have captured destruction on this scale, making this one a cult classic. Stylish, fast-paced and endlessly fun. Viewtiful Joe is a superhero game unlike any other. This side-scrolling action game by Capcom throws players into a comic book inspired world where they take on the role of Joe, a regular guy who's become a superhero inside a movie. With unique mechanics like slow motion attacks, high speed combos, Viewtiful Joe plays like a blend of classic beat 'em ups and time manipulation puzzles, and the vibrant art style and quirky sense of humour make it a joy to play. If you love old school action games with a creative twist, this one's a must play. Breaking the fourth wall, making crude jokes and delivering chaotic action, Deadpool is a game that perfectly captures the insanity of a character. Unlike most superhero games, this one doesn't take itself seriously at all, featuring over-the-top humour, absurd cutscenes and the combat that is as ridiculous as it is satisfying. Combat-wise, Deadpool blends melee action with gunplay, allowing players to slice them up enemies with katanas or blast them away with pistols. While the gameplay can be repetitive, the humour and self-awareness of the game keeps it entertaining. Fans of the character will love every moment, from Deadpool talking directly to the player to the countless pop culture references. Not all superhero games are based on Marvel or DC. Infamous Second Son follows Denson Rowe, a conduit with the ability to absorb and wield multiple elemental powers. The game's karma system lets you choose between being a hero or a villain, affecting the city of Seattle and its people. The combat is fluid, allowing for high-speed, transversal and unique power-based attacks, whether you choose to be a noble protector or an unstoppable force of destruction. Second Son gives you the freedom to shape your own superhero story. The game's stunning visuals and fast-paced action make it a standout in the superhero genre. Taking everything great about Arkham Asylum and expanding it into an open world Gotham, Arkham City is considered one of the greatest superhero games ever made. The story, the side missions and the expanded rogues gallery make Gotham feel alive. Players can freely explore the city, taking down criminals, solving Riddler's challenges and facing off against villains like Joker, Two-Face and Ra's al Ghul. The combat and stealth mechanics from Arkham Asylum were redefined even further, making every fight feel cinematic. The addition of Catwoman as a playable character added even more variety to the experience. If Arkham Asylum was a masterpiece, Arkham City was the evolution of that formula in the best way possible. A love letter to classic arcade beat-em-ups, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is a modern throwback done right. Developed by Tribute Games, this side-scrolling brawler captures the nostalgic magic of 1989 Turtles in Time, but with a modern polish and smoother gameplay. Players take control of Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello and Raphael, and even April O'Neil and Splinter as they battle through waves of Foot Clan enemies. The pixel art is vibrant, the action is fast paced, and the co-op mode makes it even more fun with friends. Whether you're a long-term Ninja Turtle fan or just love a good beat 'em up, this game is an absolute blast. Taking everything great about Insomniac's Marvel Spider-Man and injecting it with even more style and heart, Miles Morales proved to be a worthy follow-up. While the game is smaller in scale, the addition of Miles' unique abilities, such as bioelectric venom strikes and invisibility, gave the combat a transversal and fresh feel. The story is also deeply personal, exploring Miles' journey as he steps up to protect Harlem and define himself as Spider-Man. The winter setting of New York, complete with holiday decorations and snow-covered streets, make it for a visually stunning experience. If you've loved Insomniac's first Spider-Man game, Miles Morales is an essential follow-up. Brutal, gritty and unapologetically violent, The Punisher is a dark action game that fully embraces Frank Castle's brand of justice. It was developed by Volition and featuring a script co-written by Punisher's comic writer Garth Ennis. This game doesn't hold back. Gameplay revolves around third-person shooting and environmental integrations, where players can use anything from buzzsaws to piranha tanks to extract information from enemies. With a storyline that feels ripped straight from the comics and intense, action-packed gameplay, The Punisher is one of the best mature superhero games out there. What if you could play as an anti-hero with godlike abilities? That's exactly what Prototype delivers. You step in the shoes of Alex Mercer, a man infected with a virus that grants him superhero abilities, including shapeshifting, super speed, and the ability to consume enemies to gain their memories. Set in an open world New York City, Prototype offers pure chaotic fun, letting players wreak havoc with insane powers. You can sprint up skyscrapers, transform your arms into massive blades, and hurl cars like they're pebbles. With its unique premise and visceral combat, Prototype is an underrated gem in the superhero games. Who would have thought a South Park game could be one of the best superhero RPGs? The Fractured But Whole takes the turn-based RPG mechanics from Stick of Truth and applies them to a hilarious superhero themed adventure. This time the kids of South Park have traded their fantasy costumes for superhero personalities, parodying Marvel's Civil War storyline. The game's humour is as sharp as ever, poking fun at everything from superhero tropes to pop culture. The combat system is surprisingly deep, featuring grid-based strategy mechanics and customizable abilities. If you love South Park and RPGs, this game is an absolute must play. Marvel meets tactical RPG, because Marvel's Midnight Suns takes the superhero genre in a unique direction, blending XCOM style strategy with deck building mechanics. Players take control of the Hunter, a customizable hero, and lead a team of iconic Marvel characters including Blade, Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider against the demonic forces of Lilith. Unlike other superhero games, combat is turn-based, requiring strategic positioning and ability management. Between missions, players can interact with heroes at their base, deepening relationships and unlocking new abilities. If you're a fan of tactical RPGs and Marvel, Midnight Suns is a fantastic fresh take on the genre. Before superhero games went full open world, there was Freedom Force, a tactical RPG that pays homage to classic Silver Age comics. Released in 2002, this game puts players in control of a squad of superheroes, battling villains in a world full of campy charm and over-the-top powers. Real-time strategy gameplay mixed with RPG elements makes for a deep and rewarding experience, plus the game's humorous take on superhero tropes is a delight. If you love classic superhero stories and squad-based strategy games, Freedom Force is worth checking out. While Saints Row 4 may not be a traditional superhero game, it absolutely deserves a spot on this list. The game throws realism out the window, giving players insane superpowers inside a simulated world. You can sprint faster than cars, leap across entire city blocks, and even use telekinesis to hurl enemies through the air. It's a hilarious, action-packed experience that feels like a love letter to superhero gaming, even if it's technically an over-the-top parody. If you've ever wanted to play as a superhero in an open world mayhem simulator, Saints Row 4 delivers. Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man 2 takes everything from the first two games and expands on it, delivering one of the best superhero experiences to date. Now featuring both Peter Parker and Miles Morales as playable characters, the game introduces new symbolic abilities, faster web-slinging, and an even more detailed New York City. The story dives deep into Peter's struggle with the Venom symbiote, while Miles continues to carve out his identity as Spider-Man, with breathtaking visuals, fluid combat, and an emotional-driven narrative. Spider-Man 2 is the ultimate web-slinging adventure. Last but certainly not least, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is a legendary fighting game that brings together an insane roster of Marvel and Capcom characters. With its fast-paced 3v3 battles, flashy super moves, and unforgettable soundtrack, it remains one of the most beloved fighting games of all time. From Spider-Man and Wolverine to Ryu and Mega Man, the roster is packed with iconic characters. Whether you're a competitive fighting game player or you just love chaotic over-the-top action, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is an all-time classic. And there you have it, the 20 best superhero video games that every fan should experience. Whether you love intense action, open world exploration, or deep storytelling, these games prove that superheroes belong in gaming just as much as they do in comics and the movies. Which of these games is your favourite? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like, subscribe for more gaming content, and ring that notification bell to stay updated. Until next time, stay gaming.